I found this house on Craigslist, or this building on Craigslist, I guess. It's a house to me now, but it wasn't that originally. I called the guy, said I'd love to see the space. I walked in here and I didn't really know what I was gonna do with it, but I knew it was something special. It took me about a year to realize I wanted to build a home in here, but you know, it was one of those things. I spent time in here and just started to really fall in love with the space and the textures and the openness and you know, its history and its testament to Industrial Revolution and this area, and it just was something I slowly fell in love with. Whenever you're stuck in a project like this in the center of it, you know, it can be daunting at times, and it's like, am I ever gonna truly be able to finish this and complete this and live in this space, you know?
Most people wouldn't finish. I think that's where people's doubt comes in, is like, well, how many people would actually finish this project? I couldn't finish this project. I was used to Dominic doing crazy things and venturing into crazy ideas, not knowing exactly what he's gonna do with it at that point. So I remember when he showed this place to me for the first time, and then he said, you know, I wanna make this into our house. And that's when I was like, no, no, you're crazy.
I saw it before it was done, but like I had to convince everybody else that it was there, right? And nothing, I always kind of knew what I was gonna do in each one of these spaces, but to see it done now, and I have some friends that will ask me like, is this what the inside of your brain looks like, you know?
He's the genius behind all of this, I will say. Gotta give him props, yeah.
It became therapy for me at some point, and then it became an obsession, and now it's something I can build my life in and build my family, and you know, it's a total play on words.
When I came in here for the first time, I mean, it was cluttered with junk. There was old shag carpet of different colors upstairs. You know, the drop ceilings falling in, just a flea market hoarder space. It was gross, it was gross.
There was one picture of the elevator gate on Craigslist, and that really sparked my interest. A friend of mine gave me some old glass that they used in a sidewalk. It's called vault glass. And I had about 25 pieces of it. And I cut 4 holes in the center of the elevator and put them in there, and made a diamond in the center of the landing with the glass, and just like all of these real artifacts from our past, brought together and just really do something special for it. The elevator gates, in my opinion, are art, right? The whole structure itself is amazing, and the raw iron weights and the big wheels and the pulleys, and it's just, it's exceptional. And I'm probably most proud of the elevator, and it's great because I didn't build it, right? People come in and they go, does this thing function still? And I'm like, of course this thing functions, you know? It was made at a time in America where everything functioned, and it was simple. Hammond is a town that a lot of Marion County people know that I didn't, that I had to figure out in my exploration of this place. And if you look at a lot of the bricks, they say Hammond or HFB Co. Hammond bricks were, in the 1930s, the strongest bricks in the world. These are the same bricks that made the Empire State Building and the Ford factory in Detroit. And it really speaks to our sand and the quality of the material that we had in this area. You know, West Virginia is so great for that. You know, our natural resources built this country. Exposing that ceiling upstairs, we sandblasted the whole thing, right? And it was a dust bowl in here for months on end. Bowstring trusses in a small space like this are rare. Usually you see them in huge open amphitheaters, things like that. They made bowstrings so they wouldn't have to use support poles, so they could drive cars around all the space and not have to worry about it. I'm a car guy by nature. That's something that you can't really fight. You know, since I was a kid, I've always been in love with car culture and car history. There's an old saying, as goes General Motors, so goes the economy, and you can kind of follow cars through history and understand what was happening in the United States at that time. And then somewhere along the way, I got into buildings and architecture, and they're exactly the same way.
Upstairs is my favorite space. I love the vaulted ceilings with the bowstring trusses, all of the natural light that comes in. I just love natural light. And so it feels bright and airy upstairs, really cozy. It's more traditional. That's where the bedrooms are, my favorite kitchen. I love it. The basement was a basement, a cold basement in a warehouse, and its transformation has been unbelievable. It's a really cool, cozy space. We actually just set up a little podcast area, lounge, the sauna's down there, so it's really a neat place to sort of chill. He loves the industrial look, so he kept everything original but just brought it back to life. 3/4 of the way through the project, he tore down an old barn and reused all of its wood to build our fireplaces.
I started using the wood everywhere I could, and that was a feat in itself. I mean, I literally moved a barn into this building. I can remember the first day we started putting up walls, and I remember kind of being bummed because it was this amazing space of like, I mean, you could stand in one corner and see all the way to the other corner on both floors, right? And I remember going, man, I don't want to lose this view. And then I had all these windows that I kept, and I wasn't sure what I was going to do with them. So we've used them all over the house, used every one of them actually that I took out, and they're 60 by 60 monster windows, and it totally gave it a design element that I didn't expect. I love looking at the glass and seeing the old ripply glass, bubbly glass. You know, it does something to my soul. I think that when you have this much space, everything is difficult. One of the hardest things that we did in here was building this staircase. First time I ever been on a cruise, my wife asked me to go, and I said, cool, let's do it, right? So we were on this cruise, and we went to take the pictures in the ballroom, and they brought us to the staircase. And I can remember being in the center of this ship, smiling for this camera, and it hit me right in the brain that I'm gonna build a staircase just like this, because my house is essentially a cruise ship.
He found this old vault glass, and he said, I've gotta cut out the landing and the stairs because I really wanna put these in the landing and shine light up through them because they'll glow and they need to be appreciated. And thank goodness he did, because people comment on it all the time. I mean, it's beautiful. It adds more character to the stairs. It's really a nice accent piece.
It's a beast, but it was so worth it.
He underplays it, but it took 4 years of his hard work. He only had a few guys to help him along the way. He was in here every day, slaving away, bringing old material in all by himself.
One of the favorite things I found is a little parking stub, almost like a valet ticket. And that's kind of the only history of the building that I have other than what they left behind as far as the fixtures. Everything I find, it just misses this building by that much because it was just a building on an alley, you know, it was a warehouse space. Sometimes at night I take my dog out and it's super quiet outside, and it's like I know that there was so much emotion and history and sound and all kinds of things outside that sometimes I feel like I can hear it, you know, and all I can do is preserve it and promote it and carry it to the next generation. I always knew I'd love the space. You know, I've been watching fireworks from it for the last 4 years whenever they let them off on the bridge down here. And this year to sit under that covered deck with my son sleeping on my chest, you know, with these big earphones on, and oh, it was magical for me because it was like I used to have to crawl through a little hole in the roof, you know, and being in this empty, nasty, dirty building. But now to see what it had, that whole transition, like I said, sometimes it's just too much to handle for me, you know. I'm an emotional guy, and this kind of helps bring it all out, you know.